Alright guys, GenZ here, and if you are familiar with my channel, then I am a 22-year-old Gen Z investor. I'm trying to get financially free early in life because I don't want to work for the next 40 years. If you are familiar with my channel also, then you know that I've been doing high yield investing, but I'm essentially making a complete pivot with high yield investing. If you're new to the channel, then well, that's my introduction, but I'm going to be doing options, going on an options journey. Not really buying like that kind of trading, but more like doing the wheel, doing cash secured puts to make income, right? So if you are watching my financial journey from the Yield Max crew and the high yield investing crew, hopefully you guys stick around because I mean we're doing options, but it's pretty much generating quote unquote passive income also. Portfolio at $128,000, and we aren't in margin anymore. And you know, we didn't sell out of Yield Max completely. We got 500 Kony, Misty, YMAX, Nvidia. You know, we had 7,000 shares, but now we got 36 shares of YMAX. Pretty much there's too much NAV erosion with these funds and not enough control, and I just did not want this in my portfolio. I'm not bashing Yield Max. I'm not telling you guys to sell out. I'm just saying for my investing needs and what I want in my portfolio, it's just I don't want this in my portfolio anymore. So whatever's left, we're probably going to keep it, but essentially we're moving on to options trading, specifically income wheeling. Looking more into our portfolio, we got our high yield income funds, but the thing is we got a lot more safer stocks now. Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, DGRO, Altria. I mean, MO and Coca-Cola, these aren't growth funds, but those are for dividends also. So this is helping build my passive income. We got some growth like Microsoft, JP, Visa, Amazon. So we got some growth stocks. And previously, we weren't able to buy these in my portfolio because I was in margin, right? I had $100,000 of margin debt. But because we liquidated YMAX and some other funds and we're not in margin anymore, this enables me to buy essentially recurring investments into the Coca-Colas, which is a safer income fund pretty much, right? A blue chip stock, or we can buy growth stocks now like Hood or JP Morgan, for example. We're able to do this now because it's not going to be on margin where I'm paying, you know, 5% per month, or not per month, but per year. It's not much though. It's $250 per week into these funds, right? So my recurring investments, they get $250 per week. And our biggest fund is $100, which is QQQI, which is ironically the NASDAQ. You know, $100, this pays the highest safe yield in my opinion, which is 14% annualized per year. So yeah, we're contributing to our income fund still, but most of our money is going towards options. So to be clear, we started with SoFi and we learned some lessons there. We did MSTZ to dabble in Bitcoin exposure and see how the MSTZ and MSTU work. And you know, if it goes in your way, it pays a lot, but if it goes in the wrong direction, you're going to get screwed big time. And after I got more experience, we went on to do, if I can find it, QQQ. This is my thesis on QQQ, and essentially this index, it has a 100% win rate if you're doing the wheel on it. To be clear, not financial advice, and it depends on how you do it. If you aren't familiar with doing cash secured puts, then essentially if the share price is 470 and you do a cash secured put at 470, if it doesn't drop below 470, you get to keep some premium, right? If it drops below 470, you are forced to buy 100 shares of QQQ at $470. But the thing about buying indexes like SPY and QQQ, doing you know, the wheel on those funds is, and I say it's a 100% win rate because if you look at the max chart, even if you bought it here and then it crashed and you own the shares now at 29, even though you bought it, you were forced to buy it at $90. If you held it long enough, then you're going to be in the green, right? So that's the thing. You could have done cash secured puts here, and if you hold these stocks or indexes long enough, you go down, but eventually you go up again. You can sell it for a profit. So you can technically never lose money, although it's gonna come at the cost of holding your capital in the stocks. But I mean, you can't do covered calls on those shares. But yeah, this is why I'm doing the wheel on QQQ. It's because it's an index that always goes up in the long term. So if I hold it long enough, I won't ever lose money on it, and it pays more premium than SPY. So this is why I'm doing QQQ. It's a safe fund to do the wheel on. You can look at the P&L, and as you can see, ever since 416 we have been all green. And this is I mean, if you do equals sum and then you add all this up, so ever since 416 we made $1,900 in premium from QQQ. We got assigned once, and so we sold it the next day for a profit of, I don't know, we got assigned at 456.42, and then we sold at 457. So about $1 profit times by 100, we made over $100, about $115 per contract, because it's 2 contracts right here. But yeah, guys, I haven't been posting many videos, but essentially I've been practicing the wheel. And if you guys aren't familiar, hopefully you guys can come by and join my investing Discord. We banter here sometimes, but in the options channel, we like to do a lot of theory crafting. There's a lot of smart people here. We bounce ideas. You can see it's a Saturday, and me and a Discord member was talking about Palantir, MSTR, and how much ROI we can make from it and whatnot. So there's a lot of smart people here, and if you want to see what I'm doing, or if you want to join in on the journey and join a community, then hopefully you join my Discord. We're gonna put the link inside the description. But yeah, those people in the Discord, they taught me how to do options, and that's what I'm doing right now. I haven't been making videos, but I've been doing options every day, mainly at work. I really like options because I want to do trading. Problem with trading is I don't want to do technical analysis, and with doing the wheel and doing the options is I don't need to do technical analysis. Some people do, but I don't. And as you can see, I don't do technical analysis, but I have been very profitable. The thing about doing the wheel is the risk is in your hands. You can be very risky, or you can be very conservative. I'm not being super risky, I'm semi-conservative, and this is why I've been pretty much green the entire time while I was doing QQQ. Yeah, we got assigned once, but we sold out for a profit. So I mean, we didn't lose, we're still winning. But yeah, guys, this is where I'm at currently. We're leveraging margin also, because I am only able to buy 1 contract. We're only able to buy 1 contract of QQQ in cash, but because we got equities, this acts as margin collateral, and it enables us to buy 2 contracts of QQQ instead of 1. You see my individual cash is $77,000, but if you go to, if you can find it, QQQ, you hit trade options. As you can see, I have $111,000 worth of buying power for QQQ. So I've been doing 2 contracts of QQQ per day. Although, I'm learning to trade and whatnot, like taking profits, it's very hard to do. When you're green 50% on an options contract, the consensus is you should, take profit at 50%. But at the same time, you want to hold it till expiration. But with, this current market, it's very hard to do. Like, QQQ can be up 2%, and out of nowhere at lunchtime, it drops 1.5%. And you're in the money on these contracts, and the market is very crazy right now. So this is why I'm trying to do multiple trades per day, only when I have time at work. I mean, I said this on the Discord too, like right here. Destructor, he asked me, did I make more money opening just 2 contracts per day or doing 6 contracts in a day? And I only made an extra $20 by putting in more work, opening up more positions. You can see I started the day off 425, so on Friday, with these 2 contracts, and I made, at 170 and 150 premium. This totals to about $320, but I took profit and I opened up 2 more contracts. I took profit again, and I opened another 1 to 2 contracts. In total, this equaled $344. So was it actually worth it? Putting in the time and the work and opening in 4 more contracts just to make an extra $20. So that's just something you gotta think about. I don't think it was worth it, but I mean, profit is profit, right? So I made an extra $20. But yeah, I am really liking the options and whatnot, because at work, it's getting slow right now. But with options, when I'm sitting around at work doing nothing, I'm not making money, right, as a mechanic. But when I'm at work I can pull up my phone. I don't even need to do technical analysis. I can put in a trade, and if the trade goes well by 4 o'clock, or if I take profit, I might be making $50 to $200 while I'm at my 9 to 5. And just think about that. And I've been averaging $200 per day, guys, right? On $90,000 of collateral, because 2 QQQ contracts cost about $90,000. If you do $200 per day on average, times it by 5, times it by 4, times it by 12 to annualize it, $48,000 a year. You divide that by the initial capital, you're making about a 50% yield on your money in perfect market conditions. Again, if we can be conservative and say 25%, because bad things can happen throughout the market. Nothing's perfect, so if we be conservative and say our yield is 25% for the year, that's still better than all of the other funds, high yield income funds. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Hopefully you guys stick around for the journey. Again, GenZ Ratio. I'm a 22-year-old investor. I am trying to get financially free. We keep pivoting, and finally we are doing options now, and it looks like it's gonna be successful for now. I mean, it's been a month or two, but yeah, it's going pretty well actually. My long-term goal is I want to buy 2 extra contracts of QQQ per year, because in 5 years I would be trading 10 contracts of QQQ, assuming it's at a price of $50,000 per contract. And if it keeps going up, then it's gonna be 8 to 9 contracts in 5 years. But if we use the same math, right, 10 contracts, and each contract generates you, let's say, actually I think I did that math right. Actually the math was $100, so each contract generates you about $100 on QQQ. If you times it by 10, you make $1,000 per day. 5 times it by 4, annualize it, you're gonna make about $240,000 a year if you had 10 contracts, assuming perfect conditions, assuming it goes well for one whole year. You average about $100 per contract, $240,000 per year passive income. You can retire at that point, guys. If you're a high yield income investor and with Misty whatnot with $100% yield, I mean, if Bitcoin stays good, yeah, it'll do that. I'm not bashing on Misty. I'm in Misty still, guys, but for I guess more control over my capital and just to be more safe, in my opinion, we're going to be doing options. Either way, 5 years to retire, assuming we retire in 5 years, assuming we got 10 contracts of QQQ in 5 years, that's going to be more than my 9 to 5, and that's going to be more than what I'm pretty much going to be set, right? Like, I don't want to retire at 60 years old. I'm going to have the option to retire at 30 years old, assuming I can get these 10 contracts in 5 years. 5 years is, I mean, it's long, but compared to 40 years, that's not long at all. So, and this beats doing SCHD, invest into VOO, and retire in 25 to 30 years at a 4% yield. So yeah, I am going to try to push options as far as I can, and hopefully this is going to be good longevity wise also. Hopefully you guys stick around and keep on watching the channel. This is episode 1 of the options journey, and it's going to be a long journey assuming everything keeps going well. GenZ Rice out.